Good evening. Great to be at your place, wherever you're watching us right around Australia. San Marino Grand Prix time, and as we see Eddie Irvine getting into the Ferrari now, and a huge crowd has turned out tonight, and Ferrari banners all around the circuit. Bernie Eccleston, AJ, making one of the rare appearances this year at a Grand Prix.
Yeah, well, Daz, I mean, it might be called the San Marino Grand Prix, but for all intents and purposes, it's another Grand Prix in Italy, and as such, the atmosphere is just absolutely fantastic.
So on the grid there, well, of course, a pretty sad night tonight too, because 5 years ago, the sport lost two drivers, Ayrton Senna, the great man, and Roland Ratzenberger. They lost their lives during this race at Imola, and it doesn't seem like 5 years ago, does it?
It certainly doesn't. It's flown.
As you can see inside the cockpit there, there's a really interesting shot of the little readout, the digital readout there.
Yeah, that's actually a map of Imola, and I would probably say that that's the gear changing points that's on that map, but I've said it before, the steering wheel in that car is reputed to be worth about 75,000 Australian dollars just for the manufacture of it, and it's just absolutely incredible what it can do.
Yeah, amazing. All right, well, let's, we talk about Imola. Let's have a look at the bits and pieces of the track here. This week, we're going to feature the Monaco Grand Prix Racing Simulator #2. Now, this is from Ubisoft. We'll take a look at a section of the Imola circuit, AJ.
Oh, that's just going down through the very quick left-hander down into the Acqua Minerale now, which they've actually widened up a hell of a lot. It used to be a lot tighter than this before you go up the hill into a very sharp right-left chicane. And we're going through it again. This is the corner where Schumacher and a few guys run wide a couple of years ago and bounced along. It's a fairly important corner because the car does go very light. The camber's off the wrong way. And as I say, you come into the Acqua Minerale and then back up the hill. So it's quite an interesting section of the circuit.
All right, let's have a look at what happened in qualifying, because really, when you have a look at the grid, there are a few surprises. Peter Nugent has the report.
Things went as expected in the lead-up to the San Marino Grand Prix, McLaren keeping its perfect qualifying record intact. Mika Hakkinen taking his third consecutive pole for the season, but still he wasn't completely pleased.
This circuit obviously is not easy track to get a good line. I personally found it very difficult couple of the corners to get it right. And you have to be aggressive in this track, but same time very smooth.
Once again, David Coulthard gave his all, but wasn't able to peg back his McLaren teammate.
Quick, competitive. It's obviously would be better to be on the pole, but nonetheless, I still think we can have a good race from front row.
The Ferrari fans would be delighted with Michael Schumacher's continuing improvement, third place on the grid.
We're going to start the race from third position with a close gap to the guys in front, and let's see what the race brings.
Beside him will be current World Championship leader Eddie Irvine in the second of the Ferraris. The biggest surprise was provided by newcomers BAR, former world champ Jacques Villeneuve, qualifying fifth fastest. Next best was Rubens Barrichello and the ever-evolving Stuart Ford, but still its major weakness remains reliability.
Well, there you have it. The Mercedes continue to steamroll with Hakkinen and Coulthard on the front row in their McLarens. Schumacher and Irvine, the two Ferraris, right behind them. Villeneuve, terrific effort to get up there in fifth. Barrichello in sixth with Stewart. Frentzen, Hill, Schumacher, Zanardi, his best ever qualifying. Panis, Herbert, Alesi, Trulli, Deniz, Fisichella way back in 16th. Worth, his teammate, in 17th. De La Rosa, 18th. And Salo, Takagi, Gina and Badois in 22nd.
Yeah, pretty amazing grid when you look at that. I mean, McLaren, Ferrari up the front, but a few surprises there.
Yeah, well, Villeneuve's done a great job to get that car up into fifth spot. I mean, he's leading the Mechachrome formula, for want of a better word. Yeah. But Zanardi did well to get up there in 10th place. He's improving, obviously. So I think it's going to be quite interesting. Schumacher in front of his Italian fans tonight will be something to watch. The gap is very close. He's the ultimate racer, so I think we could have a good one.
Certainly hope so. Well, there we are now as we go back live pictures. Let's go through some points of interest, because there are a number while we're watching the drivers prepare for tonight's race. The motor racing world, unfortunately, was saddened last month after the sudden death of Dr. Harvey Postlethwaite of a heart attack. He'd been overseeing a test session of the Honda's development Formula One car in Barcelona. He's survived by his wife Cherry and their two children, Ben and Amy, and will be sadly missed. And AJ is a guy that you had a bit to do with.
Yeah, I mean, he designed the Hesketh, he designed the Silk Cut Jaguars. I mean, he was with Ferrari. I mean, Harvey was a guy that designed a lot of successful motor cars and had a lot of good friends in Formula One, and quite rightly, he will be very sadly missed.
Well, despite rumours to the contrary, Honda will not abandon development for next year's car. Engines are the talking point this week. VAR are thought to have signed for Honda engines next year. Arrows are talking to Lamborghini, while Williams gave their new BMW V10A a workout this weekend, courtesy of their test driver, Jörg Muller.
Yeah, and they were very happy, apparently. The initial signs are that it's very, very promising. If BAR have got Honda, they've pulled off a real coup there.
Lamborghini?
Not so much of a coup, I don't think.
Mercedes launched their 99 Le Mans Challenger earlier in the month. Mark Webber is slated to drive the number 4 car with Jean-Marc Gunin and Marcel Thiemann. And he'll be hoping for better luck this time around after a disastrous race for the German Mark last year. The team are that twitchy that all 3 of their cars were attending pre-qualifying this weekend, despite Webber's car being exempt. David Brabham has returned to Le Mans in the Panos, and also driving at tonight's race is Martin Brundle. His place in the commentary box will be taken by Alan Jones, old mate Jody Scheckter. And you and he got on terrific.
We did. We had a lot in common. In fact, of all of the guys I used to race against, I probably got on with Jody the best. He was a South African guy living in England. I was an Australian guy living in England. We seemed to hit off a fairly good rapport. He was the last person ever to win a world championship for Ferrari in 1979. And a real character. And
actually the year before you won your title.
Yes, right.
Andrei Pavicevic has become the first Aussie since Craig Lowndes to drive in Formula 3000. The Sydney-born driver has moved upper class with the Fortec team who he raced for last year in the UK. Unfortunately for Andre, the qualifying pace at Imola kept him out of the race when the team failed to make the cut. Another Aussie doing a little better at the moment is David Besnard. He'll have full news on David in our In the Pit segment after tonight's race. And finally, congratulations to Giancarlo Fischer-Keller. His girlfriend Luna gave birth to their first child this week, a daughter named Carlotta. So there we are, and look at the size of this crowd as the cars make their way around to the grid now.
Well, as I said to you, Daz, it might be called the San Marino Grand Prix, but it really is the second Italian Grand Prix, and as such, the atmosphere and the fans are just, they're fabulous. Second only to Monza. Pretty well much the same fans, I would say. Not all that far apart, but it's a difficult circuit, and you can really see the cars at work here, particularly that left-right-hand chicane before the start-finish line, which we just saw them then. If they, give it a bit too much welly too soon, you can see them laying rubber coming out of there. It really is a great sight.
Reliability tonight, obviously, the 2 McLarens and also the Stewart. The spotlight's on all 3 of those cars.
Well, I think the McLarens are really making headway. I don't think the Fords are making all that much headway. They're showing a lot of pace, but I'll be surprised if they last.
Some good shots there as we see the cars making their way around to the grid now. All right, well, let's take you over now. Live commentary coming in from Murray Walker and his new partner, his new sidekick tonight, Jody Scheckter.
In the Prost with its Peugeot engine. He's 16th on the grid, so there in the background, the safety car, which has got Professor Sid Watkins, the FIA's doctor and surgeon in it. And you watch for the lights. They come on one at a time. When all 5 go out, there's a programmed pause, and the San Marino Grand Prix is go! Good start by Mika Häkkinen. Frentzen dives out from the pack. Villeneuve has stalled. Jacques Villeneuve has stalled from 5th position on the grid. Mika Häkkinen leads. David Coulthard is in 2nd place. Then the 2 Ferraris. There is a furious Jacques Villeneuve. He's gone down and off. Goes, it looked to me like Olivier Panis. No, it's Trulli. It's Jarno Trulli in the Prost. So his race is over already. And now Schumacher, realising that Mika Häkkinen is pulling away from him, is pushing very hard at David Coulthard. Mika Häkkinen realises that with a clear track in front of him, this is a golden opportunity to build up that vital gap that he needs. It's a long race of 62 laps. Häkkinen, Coulthard, Schumacher, Irvine. Barrichello is in 5th position. Heinz Harald Frentzen has come up to 6th position on the grid. He's moved up because of Jacques Villeneuve's problem. But already Mika Häkkinen is starting to ease away.
Yes, and it looks like Coulthard settled down and starting to pull away as well. He obviously wasn't feeling very comfortable in the first few corners, and Michael was all over him. So, but it looks like it's settling down.
Well, down to the Rivazza for the first time. And you look briefly there at Sandro Zanardi, Alex Zanardi, and Ralph Schumacher. But here is Häkkinen flinging the McLaren round the corners. Irvine, Barrichello, Frentzen, Ralph Schumacher, Damon Hill is in 8th position as he goes through. Unfortunately, they all seem to have completed that first lap, with the exception of Jacques Villeneuve and Jarno Trulli, of course, who went out on the very first lap of 62 here in Italy. Now, temperatures, here's a replay of the start. Let's see what happens. You can see Jacques Villeneuve stalled there, and it was an absolute miracle that nobody hit him.
Yeah, it's so dangerous when somebody stalls on the grid, because you can't really see them when you're one behind. It's too low, and it's very dangerous.
Well, he will be very, very unhappy indeed. Jarno Trulli has been making some critical comments about the Prost team, which I don't think have endeared him to the management. He's got some justification because the car is not what he wanted it to be, but it's a new team and it's Prost as opposed to Ligier format, and it is getting better all the time. But look at this. Now, were the McLaren sandbagging all the time? Because at the end of the first lap, Mika Häkkinen led David Coulthard by 1.7 seconds. He led Michael Schumacher by 2.8. This is Fisichella replay, and he goes down the right-hand side. Now, now we should see what happened to Jarno Trulli as they turn into the Tamburello, but we didn't. We rejoin at the Traguardo, the end of the lap. Now, the previous lap, Michael Schumacher was a second behind David Coulthard. And just to demonstrate how important the race victory to him is there, Mika Häkkinen has just made the fastest lap of the race so far. That was his second, his first flying lap, of course. 1 minute 30.225 compared with the fastest lap we have ever had here at Imola. Heinz-Harald Frentzen, 125.5 in the Williams, but it was a very different motor car in those days. Well, I have to say, even at this early stage of the race, it looks as though the Ferrari promise was a false one, or that McLaren had got something up their sleeves all the time.
Right, it certainly looks like they had something up their sleeves, because certainly in practice it looked like Ferrari were really catching up, but this is a bigger domination than we've seen.
Yeah, 2.2 seconds now. What we never know, of course, at this stage of the race, Jody, is what the strategies are going to be. I mean, it could hypothetically be, that Mika Häkkinen is going to have a 3-stop race, and therefore he's going as fast as he possibly can to build up time. I don't believe for one moment that that is the case, but it could be that he's on 2 stops and Michael Schumacher on 1 stop, in which case, with a heavier fuel load, the Ferrari could be going slower. I think I'm grasping at straws for Ferrari lovers, but still.
Yes, I mean, the consensus was it was going to be a 2-stop race for most of the people. Something very, if they wanted to really stretch it and do 3 stops, it could be slightly quicker, but not enough to really take the chance.
Well, as we watch the 2 McLaren drivers grasping this race by the throat, and Mika Häkkinen particularly, I can tell you that Jacques Villeneuve did not stall his Super Tank V10 engine at the start of the race. He had a gear selection problem, is the message that we've been given, in which case he will not be at all happy. But as now the race in this early stage, with Mika Häkkinen leading, David Coulthard, Michael Schumacher, Eddie Irvine, Rubens Barrichello and Frentzen in 6th position, James Allen has news on race strategy.
Yes, I'm down in the McLaren garage, Marino. There's a terrific atmosphere of expectation down here. The mechanics all very keyed up. Everyone very keen, of course, to win this race on Ferrari's home turf. Looks to me as though Mika Häkkinen is going with a 2-stop strategy, as lap times suggest that. But of course, if you were Michael Schumacher, you wouldn't want to run the risk of starting on 2 stops with the possibility that either Coulthard or Häkkinen might start on 1. If you were stuck behind them at the start, you'd be finished. So if you're hedging your bets, and I spoke to a number of the strategists from the other teams, I said, what would you do if you were running Michael Schumacher here today? They said, I'd start him on 1 stop, because McLaren may well split their strategies. 1 car on 1 stop, 1 on 2 stops. As we said before in the introduction, 1 stop is a bit of a gamble on the brakes. but the difference in the weight is 8.15 kilos, about half a second a lap. It looks to me at the moment, my guess at the moment, is Schumacher and Coulthard are 1 stopping, Hakkinen 2.
Well, time will tell. Thanks for that, James. Very useful indeed. And as I said, Ferrari certainly at the present moment seem to need some straws to clutch at, because Michael Schumacher is now 3 seconds behind Coulthard and 6.3 seconds behind the incredible Flying Finn, as he signs himself, Mika Hakkinen. As we look now at Olivier Panis, and Panis is being chased by Tora Takagi in the... there he is, there's Takagi in the arrows behind Mika Salo. Now, Salo started down in 17th position on the grid, and he's fought his way up to... he's currently in 14th place. So Mika, who was going extremely well in practicing, and this is his first drive in the BAR. Here we are, replay. And Olivier Panis dives through on the inside and takes Mika Salo, who is followed by Tora Takagi. Oh, look at the size of that crowd. Absolutely mammoth. We're on lap 5 in this long 62-lap race. The race is going to last about an hour and 40 minutes. Now, Mika Hakkinen goes through. His lead over Coulthard was 3.2 seconds. It's now 4.2 seconds. And if David Coulthard was a worried man before, and he's been going round the whole Imola meeting with people saying to him, are you going to do it this time? And him saying, I'm very confident. You felt he was whistling in the wind a bit. He must be even more worried now.
Not as worried as old Michael. He's... it's not even a race. I mean, he's 1 second a lap consistently slower than Mika. I think it's a surprise, probably for everybody except McLaren's.
Louise Goodman is with Jacques Villeneuve.
Jacques, a gear selection problem, I understand. Can you confirm that?
I have no idea what happened. All I know is that I couldn't go anywhere.
Dreadfully disappointing for you, but still so many positive things to take away from this race, I presume.
Well, we wanted to finish a race to see if the car could last, so that's not positive at all. We've been quick, but that's what we were expecting. Since the beginning of the season, we just had it a little bit late, and to finally be qualified 5th and have good chances in the race, it's very frustrating to not even take the start.
Well, back in the race, Pedro de la Rosa there, spinning the arrows, and out of the race has gone one of the Benettons with a wheel off. I just saw that it was a Benetton. Which one it was? It's Wurz. It's Alex Wurz. Now there you can see Pedro de la Rosa. He was battling with Alex Wurz, who's been... There's a replay. Now look, there is Tora Takagi. Behind him you see the spinning Benetton going off to the left, and De La Rosa's arrows stationary in the middle of the circuit. Now that is the Tosa. That's the 55 mile an hour. Lucky that wheel didn't hit anybody. It's an indication, incidentally, again, that the tethers, which are new to Formula One this year and are supposed to stop wheels from coming off, look as though they need to be yet stronger. They're designed to stand 5 tons, but obviously the force was even greater than that. You saw Alex Wurz walking in, thumbs up, I'm okay, he was saying. But now that means already we have 4 retirements. Jacques Villeneuve out, Jarno Trulli is out, Alexander Wurz is out, and Pedro de la Rosa is a questionable quantity.
Yeah, it was very difficult to see what happened there. The camera, unfortunately, didn't pick it up, but it looked like they were having a bit of a tangle breaking into the canal.
Well, we're on lap 7 now. Mika Hakkinen, 4.7 seconds ahead of David Coulthard, who is 3 seconds ahead of the man you are watching, Michael Schumacher. Well, there was never any doubt in anybody's mind about the fact that the Adrian Newey designed, or the Adrian Newey team designed, that McLaren was faster than the Ferrari. It looked, as I said earlier on, as though Ferrari had dramatically closed the gap. But, my goodness, this is an incredible Mika Hakkinen. He's leaving everybody absolutely standing. He didn't succeed in this race last year. He had a gearbox problem, and David Coulthard, his teammate, won it. But Mika Häkkinen has only got one problem now, potential problem, and that is reliability. It looks, even this early in the race, as though nothing can stop him. But the McLarens have not been as reliable as they would have hoped. Neither of them finished in Australia. David Coulthard failed to finish in Brazil, although admittedly Mika Häkkinen won the race. But if Häkkinen keeps this up, he's now 5 seconds ahead of Coulthard, 8 seconds ahead of Schumacher. There's De La Rosa spinning again the arrows. That was a replay of him spinning the arrows at Tosa. Now the top 10 in the San Marino Grand Prix on lap 8 out of 62. As you watch the seemingly unbeatable here, Mika Häkkinen leading by 5.4 seconds. David Coulthard follows him with Michael Schumacher in a poor third position in comparison with his hopes. That is Alex Wurtz's Benetton, minus wheel, being carried in. And in fourth position, it's Eddie Irvine. He's nearly 15 seconds behind Häkkinen now, who's not only flying, but going faster and faster.
Yeah. It looks like there must be some different strategy between Coulthard and Häkkinen. I'm looking at the sector times, and Häkkinen is faster than him nearly everywhere, down the straight as well. So I can't see, unless he's having a bit of a problem, maybe they are on a different strategy.
Well, Eddie Irvine is fourth. Rubens Barrichello is in fifth position. Excellent in the Stewart as a result of Villeneuve going out. Barrichello has gained a place. Then there's Heinz-Harald Frentzen. There he is, followed by Ralf Schumacher and Damon Hill there in 8th position. Right up behind him is Jean Alesi, the French Sicilian in the Sauber. Now the Sauber seems to be, there it is, seems to be going much better in the race in comparison with practice and qualifying. Alesi was complaining about an awful lot of oversteer. Behind him is Johnny Herbert, who started way down. He's in 10th position at the present moment, and Herbert has fought his way up through the field in hopefully a reliable Stewart Ford. He blew an engine in the warm-up this morning, and they've changed it, and now we're riding with Alesi, and in front of us is Damon Hill. Out of the Variante Alta. What's the approach to Rivazza like, racing-wise, Jody?
Sorry, Maria, it wasn't there when I was there. That's one of the new corners.
Here we are, out of the double left-hander at the Rivazza, up to the Variante Bassa, the right-hander, and Alesi pushing Damon Hill very hard indeed. Incidentally, while we're watching Damon Hill, you know that his beard is off. I'll tell you the real reason. His wife, Georgie, said to him, "I haven't kissed you properly for 6 weeks, Damon," and the beard came off this morning. So, there we are, Damon Hill, world champion 1996. And he won't be terribly pleased with this. He qualified in 8th position. He's only in 8th position. And remember that Villeneuve, who started ahead of him, is out of the race. So that means to say that from that point of view, Damon could be regarded as being in 9th position. But ahead of him, as he goes up from the Tosa to the Piratella, ahead of Damon Hill is Ralf Schumacher. We're on lap 10, which already is 1/6 distance.
We should see people coming in from about lap 18, unless they're on a three pit stops. So I think that's when the race will start developing into maybe a different type of race, although Mika still looks so dominant, doing quickest times in sectors all the time. He's just done the quickest lap time again.
Oh, here we are, the first left-hander of the Rivazza, the second one, which is turn 14 in this 17-corner lap. And Alesi is right in the slipstream of Damon Hill. He can't do anything about it, because these cars, the performance is virtually identical. The drivers are the best there are in the world. And so if you're tight up behind a car whose performance is virtually the same as yours, and it's driven by a driver who's as good as you are, you've got to try and force him into making a mistake, which is what Michael Schumacher will be trying to do while we go to a break.
Back just a few moments ago. Look at that, Panos coming out. AJ just lost it completely.
Yeah, he just got on the accelerator a bit early and spun the rear wheels and off he went. These cars are very, very difficult to... I mean, they're almost like driving a normal car in the wet. They've got that much horsepower. Look, you can just see now he's coming in. And it gets back to what I said before about the aerodynamics versus the grooves in the tyres. Instead of taking grooves in the tyres, I should have left slicks on and taken the aerodynamics off. Once these cars get out of shape a little bit, that's the end of it.
Yeah, well, that's, of course, both with Prost having trouble off the circuit. A couple of things just before we go back to Murray. I'm amazed how many cars have had a gear problem or a gear-related problem this year.
Well, I think it's a typical case of them trying to be very smart. They've all got their own ideas of working the gearbox hydraulically and fibre or carbon fibre gearbox and aluminium gearboxes, and probably a little bit smart for their own good because they're suffering too much mechanical problems.
Well, Villeneuve, I mean, what a shame. I mean, he qualified so well this time round.
Yeah, that is a shame because a fifth position in that car was a great effort and it would have been good to see him up there.
Reliability is going to be the key tonight. Now, this place, is it hard on engines?
It is very hard on engines. They're pulling a lot of high revs for a long time, and I wouldn't be at all surprised to start seeing cars going out fairly shortly with engine problems.
Let's take you back to Murray Walker and Jody Scheckter.
To James Allen in the pit lane.
Well, Murray, as Jody was just saying, this really is a race for the strategists. I've toddled along now to the Ferrari garage and went up to their genial public relations man, Claudio Barrow, to see if I could get any information from him. But, of course, as always in Formula One, they don't make it easy for you, not giving anything away. But what I can tell you is that last year, Michael Schumacher started the race with 75 kilos of fuel on board. He stopped on lap 26 there. He'd only need an extra 15 kilos of fuel to go through to lap 33, which is the midpoint if you were stopping once. But I can tell you that Ferrari really are concerned with the effect of the extra weight that would have on the brakes. Now, looking at the times at the moment, 129.222 for Hakkinen in that last lap. It's still some way off the 128.6 we saw the fastest this morning by Coulthard in the warm-up. I think you could probably rule out a three-stopper, and I'm still in my belief that Hakkinen stopping twice, Coulthard and Schumacher stopping once.
You may be right, James, but whatever, David Coulthard there is now under pressure from Michael Schumacher, no doubt about it. The gap between the two of them, the McLaren there and the Ferrari in the background, has come down to just over 3 seconds from 4.4 seconds, and it's been heightened by the fact that David lost a little time coming out of the Tosa. He put his right rear wheel just over the concrete rumble strip onto the grass, slipped a bit, and that will have enabled Michael Schumacher to close up a little. Not a lot, but David likes this circuit, fancied himself very much here after his victory last year. He's not in the race at the present moment compared with Hakkinen, but the strategy could change the whole thing. If Hakkinen is coming in twice and David is coming in once, it's going to be a very tight finish to the San Marino Grand Prix. Lap 16 out of 62, and Mika Hakkinen has gone faster again. He's really forcing to build up a lead. He's just gone round in 1:29.145, which is faster than his fastest lap and the fastest lap last year. 0.2 of a second faster. It's not a new lap record because Heinz-Harald Frenzen's time in the Williams in 1997 was in a car on slick tyres and suspension which suited racing better than the narrow cars of today. But nevertheless, it gives you an indication of how incredibly quick Hakkinen is going.
Yes, I mean, you've got to think he's on a different strategy, on a two-stop or a three-stop strategy, or different to David and Michael.
Well, here is our first, and I'm sure, planned pit stop. Jody, you were absolutely right. You said they would start round about lap 16, and this is lap 16. My hat is taken off to you. 10.4 seconds for Jean Alesi, who will have taken on quite a fuel load, of course, but he's obviously on a two-stop strategy. And there is Mika Hakkinen. Now he's already up with Marc Genet, who is running 18th and last on the track. So after 16 laps, Mika Hakkinen, the leader, is coming up to lap the Spaniard Marc Genet in the Minardi in his first season of Formula One racing. An enormous gap. There was some 4.5 seconds a lap difference between them in qualifying. And he's obviously holding Mika Hakkinen up a bit at the moment, but Hakkinen bobs out from behind his slipstream. Left, right, back again, clear track. Lovely. And his next target is the other Minardi of Luca Benoa, running 17th. And the race order on lap 17, as you watch race leader Mika Häkkinen, is David Coulthard is second, 13 seconds behind him. Michael Schumacher, 17 seconds behind Häkkinen. Fourth is Eddie Irvine, Ferrari, 25 seconds down. Fifth is Rubens Barrichello, 33 seconds down. You are watching Fisichella and Takagi. Takagi in the arrows, nearly losing it. And in sixth position behind Barrichello, Heinz-Harald Frentzen, last man in the points. Ralf Schumacher in the Williams is seventh, Damon Hill is eighth, Johnny Herbert ninth in the Stewart. And that's a very good performance because Johnny started in 12th position. He started, and Louise Goodman has Alex Wurz.
Alex, from the pictures that we had, it was quite difficult to see what happened. What can you tell us?
I can tell you that a collision with Pedro de la Rosa. Pedro was in front of me due to the problems with Jacques Villeneuve from the start.
Oh, off goes Mika Häkkinen. Off goes Mika Häkkinen out of the race. Mika Häkkinen, the race leader, loses the McLaren and slam bang into the wall. He was going too fast. Pushing. And the Finn is out. No points at Imola. No points for his McLaren. David Coulthard leads. Here's a replay. Up onto the curb, onto the grass, loses traction, into the wall, out of the race. Wow! This transforms things. Well, thank heavens, Mika is perfectly all right. Yet another indication of how safe the cars are these days.
Yes, it looked like, I mean, he was pushing it so much, as you said. Overconfidence, I'm not sure. Maybe a lack of concentration. But he went just that little bit much. The back came out, he overcorrected and went straight forward into the wall. That's what happens, I suppose.
Well, only no McLarens finished in Melbourne. Only one McLaren finished in Brazil. Only one at best is going to finish here in Italy. And of course, the crowd has gone absolutely mad because they have seen the chance for their man, Michael Schumacher, in their car, Ferrari, to win this race. He is some 4 seconds behind David Coulthard, and we presume that they are on the same strategy as you look at the helmet of Tora Takagi in the arrows. Here's a replay. Let's see what happened to Mika Häkkinen.
Well, you couldn't see on that picture so much, but the picture before, the replay before, he got his rear wheel a little bit too much over. As I said, overcorrected and went straight into the wall. But you were saying, Murray, he wasn't hurt. I can assure you, the pain he's feeling inside is a lot worse than the pain he would have felt on the outside from some little injury.
Yeah, maybe no physical pain, but you're right, an enormous amount of mental pain, because Mika Häkkinen is on 10 World Championship points at the present moment. His rival, Michael Schumacher, is on 6, but you see him pricking his neck there. He would have taken a tremendous thump, because even though the helmets are much lighter these days, it would have given him a real bang. He's right in front of me as I talk to you, walking sadly back. He needs to get off the track as quickly as he possibly can behind a protective wall. He went off, someone else could do the same thing. But now here is the man on whom McLaren's hopes really depend in this race, David Coulthard, last year's pole position holder, last year's winner, and there is Michael Schumacher pushing. He's on a charge. Now he's got to get past Takagi. Takagi's a mobile chicane at the present moment, and Michael Schumacher dives through on the inside of him. Takagi moves over. Now the gap is coming down from 4.4 seconds to 3.9 seconds to 3.7 seconds. The San Marino Grand Prix is on, and Eddie Irvine moves up into third position. Ferrari second and third. McLaren leads. Stewart, in the form of Rubens Barrichello, have a man in fourth place. And Jordan, in the form of Heinz-Harald Frentzen, have the fifth runner. Ralf Schumacher in the Williams is sixth, and Damon Hill is just out of the points in seventh place, ahead of Johnny Herbert. So, David Coulthard leads. Eddie Irvine is third. Damon Hill is seventh, and Johnny Herbert is eighth. And thank heavens, Mika Häkkinen is okay. What sort of pressures is David Coulthard under now?
Well, in probably the pressure that he likes. you know, now he's where he wanted to be, in the lead. He's got to pull it off for the team. Michael obviously has got a new lease of life because he knows now that he's capable certainly of winning the race. I think with Mika there, he had no chance at all.
Well, even if he doesn't win the race, even if he finishes second, that's 6 World Championship points, which will put him ahead of Mika Häkkinen. And everybody, including me, keeps on saying how incredibly quick the Ferraris are. But as a lot of other people rightly point out, they may be quick, but they are not leading either championship. James Allen has news.
Murray, don't you just love Grand Prix racing? As soon as you think it's becoming processional, something happens, turns the whole thing on its head, and the sport reinvents itself. This really is a close race. These guys are definitely on the same strategy. But just in case Mika Häkkinen's feeling too bad, he should consult himself with the fact that back in 1993 in qualifying, the late, great Ayrton Senna did exactly the same thing. Lost it out of that chicane, spun it backwards in a McLaren. So he's in good company there.
Yeah, and Michael Schumacher is going through this field like a hot knife through butter. And look, you can visually see that he is closing up on David Coulthard, race leader. He went past Marc Genet in the Minardi as though he was standing still. And now Coulthard, Schumacher, Irvine, Barrichello, Frentzen, Schumacher, Ralph are the top 6. Damon Hill still there. Schumacher is catching Coulthard. Eddie Irvine is actually catching Michael Schumacher. The gap between them is 9 seconds, but it is diminishing. And that could be an indication of the fact that they are on different strategies, or the fact that Michael Schumacher is on hard compound Bridgestones and Eddie Irvine is on a softer compound Bridgestone. They'll both last the race, no problem there. It's just a question of which is more suitable for the heat conditions that apply today. And it is pretty hot because the track temperature now is 30 degrees. And the crowd there on the Rivazza bank are silent but enormously excited. 3.8 seconds between Coulthard, race leader. Michael Schumacher, the winner in 1994 for Benetton. Second last year, second the year before. There is Marc Genet and Takagi nearly losing. I'm not at all sure he didn't actually lose the arrows. If he got it back into shape, he did very well indeed. Well, we've got 2 very experienced chaps, Jody, because David Coulthard is in his 77th Grand Prix. Mika Häkkinen in his 120th. But whilst Michael Schumacher is closing up on David Coulthard, we're going to take a very quick break. But he's comfortably ahead of Rubens Barrichello, who is in 4th position, as we rejoin race leader David Coulthard, exiting the second Rivazza, coming up to the Variante Bassa, down to the Traguardo, the left and right, which completes the lap. The gap on the previous lap was 3.3 seconds.
And it looks like Michael is really starting to push now because his times are coming down and down. He's been quicker than David in the last 2 laps. He's just done nearly the identical time, so it's very, very close. As I said earlier, I think they're really pushing now the pit stop. It's important if they're going to gain a position on the track.
Well, this is all very bad news for McLaren, of course, because although David Coulthard is leading the race, there's the vital Constructors' Championship. And again, Ferrari are demonstrating reliability as into the pit lane comes the steward. Now, is it Rubens Barrichello or is it Johnny Herbert? It's Rubens Barrichello. He's coming in from 5th position. He was only 6.7 seconds ahead of Frentzen, so Frentzen will have gone through and taken the pace as Fisichella with Pedro Diniz behind him, and they are Lacey behind him, my apologies. They are 11th and 12th, exit the Traguardo. Alex Zanardi in the Williams, and he is only in 10th position. Not a good race for him. Back again with John Alesi, 12th position, chasing chasing, and the sole BAR upholding the new team's honour. Mika Salo, it's his first race in the car, ex-Arrows driver last year. He was released, as they put it, by the Arrows team, missed the Australian-Brazilian Grand Prix, has rejoined because Ricardo Zonta, the Brazilian, hurt his foot in practice for the Brazilian Grand Prix, and Mika Salo has been proving what a very fine driver he is.
Coulthard has just done the quickest lap that he's done. Michael was slightly slower that lap, so it's getting down to where they're getting ready for a pit stop, and they want to gain as much time as they can so they don't lose a position on the track.
Well, now we're at the Variante Alta, right, left, dropping down to the Rivazza, riding with Jean Alesi, chasing Fisichella, 180 miles an hour at this point. There's right, and then down through the gears to second gear to a maximum of about 60 miles an hour at the apex. And really get some lock on there. That's how quick the driver's reflexes have to be in Formula One. Marc Genet, into the pits comes the Sauber of Pedro Diniz. Diniz is in an excellent ninth position, ahead of his teammate Jean Alesi, who's reckoned rightly so to be one of the quicker men in Formula 3. We're on lap 26. David Coulthard has yet to stop. Michael Schumacher has yet to stop. The gap is 3.4 seconds, or was. Here is the leader into his 27th lap. 3.4 seconds. Schumacher continues to inch up on the McLaren ahead of him, and the positions could all be changed when they come into the pits for their first, never mind their second stops.
I think the thing now is which one can stay out the longest so they can get a little bit of an edge, and are they faster towards the end?
Now, Louise Goodman's got Mika Häkkinen.
I have got Mika Häkkinen with me. Mika, you were pushing very hard at the beginning of that race. Did you push just a bit too hard?
Well, obvious question what the people normally ask. Was it your mistake or was it the car mistake? With racing drivers, we never said it was our fault. But I think this time it was, I was just pushing a car on the limit, like I said. And I was on the curb, coming out of the corner, and just when the rear tires dropped off the curb, they spun the car around, and there's no way I could have handled the machine. It just slid on the wall.
Big difference in pace between you and David. Was that down to strategy, or were you just going for it?
I can tell you that maybe tomorrow.
Thank you, Mika.
He's told us already. He's told us, in effect, that he was on a two-stop strategy and David Coulthard was on a one-stop strategy. Well,
in my day, when you came out the car, they said, "Stupid boy," after you've done something like that.
Well, he'll be kicking himself, no doubt about that. We're on lap 27, getting up towards half distance already in the San Marino Grand Prix, with Coulthard and Schumacher both yet to stop. There's David. And Schumacher is some 3.3 seconds behind him now. There he is in the background. I was talking about the effect of the Constructors' Championship. Well, if David Coulthard wins this race, he will be on 10 points. And we're looking at Alesi diving through inside Fisichella. And that is an indication of how badly the Benetton is handling compared with the way they'd like it to happen.
Yeah, I mean, you know, it's strange. Early on, when it seemed like everybody was leaving Benetton, and they still came back being competitive, and I couldn't understand that because they obviously had depth of engineering, but yeah, I think it shows, you know, when you lose your good people, you really can't keep the car in front all the time.
Well, Damon Hill is in the top 6 now. Rubens Barrichello has been in to make his pit stop and has lost time. Damon Hill took advantage of that, moved up into the top 6, but he has yet to stop. Now, I will get this point out about the Constructors' Championship. At the moment, Ferrari are on 10 World Championship points with Schumacher second and Irvine third. McLaren the same, with Coulthard leading the race. But it would mean that if they stay where they are now, Ferrari will still be leading the Constructors' Championship by 8 vital points at the end of this race. Remember what Eddie Irvine said about putting money on himself still leading the Drivers' Championship at the end of this race. Well, he's on 4 World Championship points at the moment, which would give him 16 in all. And unless Michael Schumacher wins this race, and even if he does, they would be equal. It looks as though Eddie Irvine could well be right. Lap 29, Coulthard leads. There he is on the right side of your screen. Behind him in the Scarlet Ferrari, climbing out from the Tosa. That man, Michael Schumacher, 34 laps left. Eddie Irvine is 19 seconds behind Schumacher. Into the pits comes Ralph Schumacher in the Williams from 4th place. Nice clean stop. 8.8 seconds. And of course the times are coming down because they're taking on less fuel now. And Ferrari are getting ready for Eddie Irvine, I can tell you that. And Damon Hill will now be up into 4th position temporarily. And the gap now is between Coulthard there and Michael Schumacher, you will see in a moment. There he is, 3 seconds, or was. I think it's going to be even closer, and Deniz is in front of Coulthard, and the gap is 2.5 seconds.
And Michael is going quicker in every sector all the time. He's obviously really trying to get right up to, before the pit stop, right up to David.
Now, it's absolutely essential for Deniz to move over and let Coulthard through, as into the pits comes Eddie Irvine from 3rd position. And out of the race goes Schumacher. Ralph Schumacher, that is, of course, in the Williams. And out of the pits goes Eddie Irvine. And he should just about, yes, he's all right, because Damon Hill was some 23 seconds behind him. I think that Irvine is going to rejoin the race, still in 3rd position. And still, David Coulthard has not got past Pedro Deniz into the pits. The Jordan. Frenson's already been in. Damon Hill comes in from 4th position. 7.6 seconds. That's a nice, quick, clean stop. Lap 30. 62-lap race. They're on the half-distance lap now, and look at Michael Schumacher. He's right up close now. He can almost see the gearbox of David Coulthard's McLaren in front of him. Out goes Zanardi from his pit stop. 8th position, he was in. And Jordan Lacey should have got past him. Now, Coulthard, you see, held up by Deniz.
He lost a second and a bit that lap.
And he lost a full second in that lap. And the gap is just over 1 second. Michael Schumacher driving a superb race.
Oh yes, this is when he really shows up. When it counts, he's putting massive pressure on David at the right time.
Well, Irvine has been in, Coulthard has not been in. We're on lap 31. I can tell you, I look out across the pit lane and I can see that the Ferrari mechanics are coming out, and that will be therefore for Michael Schumacher in 2nd position. And it's at that point where David Coulthard really needs to put the pressure on and try and increase his lead.
That's right. Whoever goes in first has got the disadvantage, I believe, because the other one then has to try and get a bit of a gap so he can come in and come out in front. But it's really how quick they are at the end of the run.
And of course it's then down to the team mechanics. They've all been drilling. You saw how a pit stop work sequence before this race began, and very impressive it was too. And both the McLaren and the Ferrari teams are excellent. But David Coulthard's got a slow man in front of him. This could badly affect him. It's Marc Genet. And now in comes Schumacher. James Allen, he's all yours.
Thank you very much, Murray. In comes Michael, really hot. Usually it's the guy who stays out on the circuit at this period who has the advantage. Hakkinen did it at the Nürburgring last year. It's a very similar race. No clock there, we can't tell you. 6.9. 75 kilos went in there. They put a lighter fuel load in. That was an earlier stop than Michael needed to make, but he's ready to go through to the end of the race. Very, very finely balanced, this one.
Yeah, I think that although Coulthard has now got past Marc Genet, it may just have slowed him enough to tip the balance in Michael Schumacher's favour. 6.9 seconds is a mighty quick pit stop.
Right, I'm watching his times around the different sectors, and he still looks like he's on pace. So I don't think he lost much time.
Takagi down in 15th place, getting that stop-go penalty. It won't really affect the race, except that it should mean that Marc Genet will move ahead of him. He might not even do that because he's well back. The last man on the circuit that's running at the present moment is Marc Genet, and there is Takagi out of the race. I think it looked like Takagi to me. He's decided that he won't take his 10-second penalty. Johnny Herbert comes in, and Herbert comes in from 5th position in the points. So both the Stewarts are now in the points, or they were when Johnny came in. I'm just trying to work out whether he will have lost his place. Yes, he will have lost his place to Frentzen, and it is Tora Takagi who is out of the race. So we now only have 15 of the 22 competitors left, and Rubens Barrichello is tight up behind
David Coulthard. And David did a slow lap that last lap, which is going to hurt him tremendously, because now is the time he absolutely has to get in the hottest laps he can. This is as much of qualifying now, these next few laps, as qualifying is.
Precisely so, but I have to say that the master tactician in Formula One, in my opinion, is Ross Brawn, who is the Ferrari technical director. He's worked with Michael Schumacher at Benetton and made him world champion 2 years in succession, 94 and 95. He went across to Ferrari at Michael Schumacher's behest, and he's got a wonderfully acute and astute tactical brain. And it could well be that he made the right decision to bring Michael Schumacher in a bit earlier. We're on lap 33 now, 29 laps left in the race. We're over half distance. David Coulthard, of course, has increased his lead to some 20 seconds, but it takes all of that for a pit stop, and he needs to have, in my opinion, a lead of over 20 seconds in order to have a chance of preserving his lead. Is this the second BAR going out with Mika Salo at the wheel, slowing down? But now on lap 34, race order, David Coulthard, 19 seconds, and he's ahead of Michael Schumacher, who's had his stop. And Michael Schumacher on fresh tyres is flying. He's just made the fastest lap of the race, faster than Mika Häkkinen, 1:28.8, which of course is half a second faster than the fastest lap last year. And Michael Schumacher, like everybody, is on 4-groove front tyres, whereas last year they only had 3 grooves. What's the difference? Apart from 1 groove, less grip. And still, Michael Schumacher can go faster than last year.
He's flying. They have to bring David in now, unless they're on a one-stop strategy. I can't see him winning the race if they keep him going this slowly when Michael's going so fast.
Well, he's on the hard tyres. There's no doubt about the fact that he could do the whole race on one set of tyres, because it's not that the tyres won't last the race, if anybody thinks that. It is that the grip is not as good as it is on fresh tyres. So it's a very fine balancing point between coming in and changing a set or not. And we're going to know who's got the solution, the best solution, very shortly. Through for another lap goes David Coulthard. He's on his 35th lap now in this 62-lap race. But the lead has come down to 18.6 seconds as Schumacher on fresh tyres in comparison with Coulthard on worn tyres is closing in on the McLaren ahead. Eddie Irvine is still 3rd. Rubens Barrichello is back into 4th position after Frentzen and Hill have stopped. Frentzen is 5th in the Jordan. Damon Hill is 6th in the Jordan. So 2 Ferraris and 2 Jordans in the top 6. And that's great news for Jordan, who are fighting for 3rd place in the Constructors' Championship, as McLaren come out of the pit. The McLaren mechanics come out. They're getting ready to bring David Coulthard in. Michael Schumacher's stop took 6.9 seconds. If David Coulthard takes longer than that, he's going to be in trouble.
I think he's going to be in trouble.
There are the mechanics. They're all ready at the front jack, the rear jack, as Zanardi comes towards us. He's in 9th position ahead of Jean Alesi's Sauber. 15 cars and drivers left in the San Marino Grand Prix, and this is the man that everybody is watching. James Allen, he's entering the pit lane.
Well, David Coulthard had a 2.6-second lead over Michael Schumacher before Schumacher made that stop. David Coulthard now in the pit lane, and 6.9 the target, 18.3 seconds Coulthard's lead before he came in this time round, and I don't think that's enough to get back out in the lead. There's a little bit of confusion at the back end. It definitely wasn't quite as quick as the Ferrari guys. Now Schumacher took it slightly easier on the full tanks. Watch out for Coulthard's brakes later in the race.
James, let me have it. Schumacher takes the lead. It's too long, but it took 3 seconds longer than the Ferrari stop. And what is more, Michael Schumacher has slashed his way through the traffic, and David Coulthard has got 2 cars between him. And there they are. There is Schumacher making his way through the traffic as David Coulthard exits the pits. This could be the turning point of the race.
I think it is. Michael was going so quickly coming up when he put those new tyres on. David wasn't getting the times out, and as you could see, the pit stop was a little slower. And I think that's what it's about in these races.
Well, in the past, the Ferrari team had a bit of a reputation for being slightly chaotic. Not anymore, not anymore. Under the tutelage of Ross Brawn in particular, and Jean Todt, the French team manager in particular, they have really got their disciplined act together. And that is Jean Alesi, to Pedro Diniz, my apologies, nearly taking Eddie Irvine off as Fisichella comes into the pits, where on lap 36 we have a new leader in the form of Michael Schumacher. David Coulthard is down to 2nd place. Eddie Irvine is 3rd, and Irvine is catching Coulthard in front of him. Barrichello is 4th in the Stewart, Frentzen is 5th, and Hill is 6th in the Jordans. 7th is Giancarlo Fisichella, and the Ferrari flags are waving all around me in the grandstand as the Tifosi stand up and cheer their hero, Michael Schumacher. Wow.
I'm sure he can feel that or see that in his view. The crowd standing up when he goes into the lead. It's an incredible sight in front of us in the grandstand here.
Well, Michael Schumacher leads, David Coulthard 2nd. We're going to leave. Join us again soon. Damaged physically, considerably hurt mentally, and David Coulthard there, the 3rd of these cars, can't get past Olivier Panis, who is battling with the blue Benetton of Fisichella, which is in 10th position, and David Coulthard is dropping back, a second a lap. He's now nearly 10 seconds behind Michael Schumacher, and he goes through and takes Panis. Now he's got to close up on Fisichella. I think Olivier moved over, actually, and led him through there. Yeah, we saw Ron Dennis. You will have seen him running down the pit lane, and he went to have a little friendly chat with his ex-driver, Alain Prost, and I guess the gist of it would have been, come on, Alan, give us a break. Tell your chap to move over and let David through. He is, after all, a lap ahead of him, and he's not going to gain anything by holding him back. But the man who has gained, of course, is Michael Schumacher, because David Coulthard has still got to get past Fisichella, who is in 10th position, and nearly a full lap behind him. David trying very hard, too hard. Panis goes through again.
Locked up brakes there, just went straight off. And he's not doing quick times either. He's really battling with this new set of tyres. Doesn't look good.
Jody, we always, in the commentary box, you can't tell what's happening. You say, oh, that was very ragged. He may have a problem. He may have a gearbox problem. He may have a brake problem.
Well, it looked like he locked up his left front brake coming into the corner, couldn't release it. You have the decision to make. Do you let it off and put your power on and get around? and sometimes you can't. You just got to keep on slowing her down, and if it doesn't lock up, and he went straight.
Well, meantime, very quickly, before we go to James Allen, I can tell you that Eddie Irvine in third position is catching David Coulthard. There is a prospect at the present moment of a Ferrari 1-2. James, what's the news?
Well, I mentioned at Coulthard's stop that I thought that Michael had been taking it a little bit easy in the opening stages. Of course, then at that point in the race, the cars are filled with fuel, 85, 90 kilos of fuel on board, and that's when the brakes take the real hammering. Michael was taking it a little bit gingerly at the start compared to the two McLarens, and now I was wondering whether or not the McLaren brakes would start to go off as a result of the pace Coulthard was pushing at, and maybe we're starting to see that's definitely the first sign of a long brake pedal for Coulthard, which allowed Panis to get back in front of him.
Well, whatever it is, David Coulthard is back in exactly the position that he was before, as you rightly point out, James. He's got to fight to get past Panis again, and he's still got to get past Fisichella, and all the time, there he is, the race leader, Michael Schumacher, riding the curves, which the Ferrari does extremely well, is pulling away from him. It's over 13 seconds now. That was Norbert Haug, the Mercedes boss. And David Coulthard, still, you see, he can't get past the Prost, which can't get past the Benetton, and the Benettons qualified well down in 16th and 17th places. Fisichella's lapping in 1 minute 32.9. and Schumacher is lapping in 1 minute 29, and the gap is up to nearly 16 seconds now between race leader Michael Schumacher on lap 41 and David Coulthard.
Do you think Ron's going to go down and do another visit to old Alan?
Well, he needs to make a couple of visits. He said, well, there we are. Panis has got the message again, and David Coulthard recovers, but he needs to stay on the track. And now, you're right, Ron may be legging it down to talk to Joanne Villadel-Prat or Pat Simmons, who are the top people in the Benetton team on the pit lane, to ask them to tell Fisichella to move over. You may think that's not cricket, but it isn't cricket anyway. It's motor racing, and David Coulthard with Fisichella effectively a lap behind him wouldn't be unreasonable if he was saying on the radio to Ron Dennis, for heaven's sake, tell them to get Fisichella out of my way so that I can attack this chap. Michael Schumacher, lap 42. Schumacher goes faster again. He's really going for it. 1 minute 28.6, which is 7/10 of a second faster than his fastest lap last year. 1 minute 29.34.
And that's the quickest
David Coulthard's done it, and Panis is thumped by Fisichella. Olivier Panis is having a terrible 1999.
I thought it was David Coulthard for a second, but it wasn't. So Michael has just set the fastest lap of the race, which is the first time he's gone quicker than Mika had gone earlier on.
Yeah, and that's because you see, Michael Schumacher's going through this field like a hot knife through butter. He's right up to Damon Hill, who is running 6th. He's lapped everybody except the 6th, 5th, 4th, 3rd and 2nd place men. And Damon Hill is 63 seconds in 6th position behind Michael Schumacher on lap 42. 63 seconds behind in a lap which is taking 88 seconds. So it looks as though if Michael Schumacher goes for the rest of the race as he has gone so far, he's certainly going to lap Damon Hill. But both the Jordans are in the top 6 on 3 World Championship Constructors points. Rubens Barrichello, an excellent 4th for the Stewart team, and Barrichello's already had a 5th place in Australia, where he led the race very convincingly indeed, the first race of the year. And then 5th and 6th position, Frenson and Hill. Then the Benetton team ready to receive Fisichella with Woods out of the race long ago. The retirements, in order of retirement, Jacques Villeneuve, who had that gear engagement problem. Jarno Trulli went off, Alexander Wurz out of the race, as are Pedro de la Rosa in the Arrows. And Hakkinen, of course, with his crash. Ralf Schumacher went off the track. Tora Takagi spun out. And there are 15 left now out of the 22 that started.
What I can't understand is why is Michael pushing it so much now? He really has the race wrapped up, but you know, I suppose that's Michael. That's his style.
Yeah, I think so. They get you. Well, who should know better than you? You get into the rhythm, and they tell me, Jody. I mean, I've never done it, but they tell me that you can lose concentration if you slow down too much.
I think that's right, but you don't want to be pushing going over the curves. I think that gets a little bit tricky. You want to be pushing just so you're not hurting the car.
Well, let's watch him now. Just lets it go out onto the curb there. Here's a replay. And
very polite.
Yeah, well, a bit too polite, running right off the track to let Michael Schumacher through. Lap 44, 62 lap race. There's the comparison. You see, Michael Schumacher continues to lap dramatically quicker than David Coulthard, who is now 20 seconds behind, 20 seconds behind. And Eddie Irvine is 17 seconds behind David Coulthard. It's making things look very good indeed from Ferrari's point of view. The Sauber, Pedro Diniz, he's way down in 15th position. He has already been lapped. He's been lapped 3 times. Janet's been lapped twice. Badar's been lapped twice. And everybody else up to Damon Hill has been lapped once. And looking at this stage of the race, as we see Eddie Irvine tearing off a visor strip, obviously getting dirty, clearing his vision. Well, there's no doubt about it. I'm just working out the drivers' championship points, assuming, probably wrongly, that they all stay where they are now. But Michael Schumacher's on 10 World Championship points at the moment, which would give him 16. Eddie Irvine is on 4 World Championships points, which would give him 16. We're facing the prospect at the present moment of 2 Ferrari drivers being jointly in the lead of the Drivers' Championship, and Ferrari themselves having a very secure lead of some 10 points in the Constructors' Championship. But there are still 18 laps to go as the Ferrari mechanics get ready to bring in Eddie Irvine, who was putting on a burst. It's his 2nd stop. Now, are Michael Schumacher and David Coulthard coming in again? Yes, they are certainly going to be coming in again. But Michael Schumacher is almost in the situation now where he can come in, make his change and just get out in the lead, which would more or less sign and seal things for David Coulthard, assuming the Ferrari stays as reliable as it has been. James, here's Irvine.
Schumacher.
It's Schumacher.
So that's why he was pushing it. Yeah, that's why he was pushing it. I mean, now it starts to make sense, doesn't it?
Yeah, Michael Schumacher came in. We were expecting Eddie Irvine. Very, very quick stop indeed. And Michael Schumacher was 21.8 seconds ahead, and he's got ahead of the traffic, and he's got ahead of David Coulthard. Well, that's another brilliant bit of timing, because you're shaking your head. You don't agree?
Well, no, I think it's absolutely right. I mean, I think they've just pulled it out of the bag with the strategy they had. I mean, I certainly wasn't on top of it.
I think Ross Brawn has read this race to perfection. He just got Schumacher in. Now look at it, you see, here he is on a replay exiting the pit lane as 1, 2, 3, and then the 4th car of David Coulthard, and the Ferrari mechanics realise that stop could well have won the San Marino Grand Prix for them. They congratulate each other, and rightly so, as Michael Schumacher on a fresh set of Bridgestones, nice grippy boots, comes out to his 46th lap now, this 62-lap race. The man who finished 2nd in Brazil, and 8th position in Australia. We'll stay with Schumacher. You're going to leave him for a moment, but join us soon.
Welcome back. Well, you just saw elation in the Ferrari pits when Schumacher did that brilliant stop. But look at this. Eddie Irvine's car blowing up. So the second Ferrari out. AJ, the uncertainty of sport makes it compulsive viewing.
Well, the uncertainty of Formula One, Daz. I mean, you know, you've never won until you've drunk the milk, as they say at Indianapolis, because, you know, you just never know what's going to happen. It's man-made, it's mechanical. Oh, no, who's this, Frentzen or Hill? That's a shame. The Jordans, Frentzen, the Jordans were running, I think, third or fourth and fifth at that stage. That's a shame.
Let's go back to Murray Walker.
Up into fifth position comes Johnny Herbert, followed by Alex Zanardi in the Williams. Well, what a couple of developments. Two top six men out. Michael Schumacher, and you have to worry, Jody, when you see one car go out in a team, you have to worry about the other one.
That's right. I think Michael now he's got to back off, drop his revs a little bit. Mind you, David's still in striking distance, but I would say he would be just trying to drop the revs a little bit, because if he has the same engine or the same rev of an engine, it could happen to him as well, and maybe you can save it a little bit.
Well, there is David Coulthard, who has yet to make that second stop that we're expecting. And he will have seen Eddie Irvine's car stationary by the side of the road. And if I can work out that one Ferrari going out could mean that the other will go out, David Coulthard is more than capable of doing the same thing. So that will have heartened him enormously. The gap between them is about 6 seconds, and James Allen's got some Ferrari news.
Well, Murray, I'm down in the Ferrari garage with Claudio Barrow, team spokesman. Claudio, what happened to Eddie?
Exactly, I don't know why I don't have information in the radio, but I watched the TV, and the TV I think is a classic broke. And then I look the France's car in spin after Eddie. I think so. The problem is in the angel gear, but it's sure they are problem.
And you think Frentzen...
They are all in the track.
Yeah, so you think Frentzen went off on the oil. OK, thanks a lot, Claudio.
Well, lap 49, Damon Hill moves up into the podium position of third place. He's yet to score a point in 1999. He desperately needs some. I've been saying that three men had slightly tarnished reputations when this race began. Alex Zanardi, Damon Hill and David Coulthard. Well, David Coulthard is running second. You just see the McLaren behind Michael Schumacher. Damon Hill is running third. Alex Zanardi is in seventh position, because up into sixth place now, as a result of Zanardi's pit stop, has come Giancarlo Fisichella in the Benetton. We certainly didn't expect that at the beginning of this race, after they had a very, very bad practice at qualifying period. And Rubens Barrichello is in fourth place. Both the stewards in the top six. Order again. Schumacher, lap 50, leads by 7 seconds. He leads that man, David Coulthard. Damon Hill has been lapped, but he's third. Rubens Barrichello is fourth, 11 seconds behind Hill. Johnny Herbert is fifth in the Stewart, 24 seconds behind Barrichello. Fisichella is sixth, Zanardi is seventh, Alesi is eighth. Mika Salo running well in the sole remaining BAR is ninth, ahead of Olivier Panis and Luca Badar. Out of the pits goes Heinz-Harald Frentzen. Goes Damon Hill. Frentzen already out of the race, of course. We've just seen him retire. Luca Badar is 11th. Marc Genet is 12th. And there are 12 runners left out of the 22 who started, as we look at Rubens Barrichello closing up on Damon Hill. Now, Barrichello has got the new Ford Cosworth V10 engine, which is the smallest, allegedly, the lightest, allegedly, and certainly one of the two most powerful. They just got to make it reliable. It's been reliable in this race, as has Johnny Herbert's. They're running at reduced revs in comparison with qualifying. And out goes Panis, Olivier Panis, from 10th position. Well, the mice are getting at the machinery now. I wonder how many are going to finish.
If we get back to the tactics of Ferraris, I mean, it really seemed to demoralize David when Michael went out and was going so quickly, and you really thought it was all over. But then he came in for a stop. So if David could have stayed up with him, he could have had a chance. But what a tactic!
Well, we've got 12 laps now, and Michael Schumacher is about 6.5 seconds ahead of Coulthard, but in the previous lap, Coulthard took half a second out of the Ferrari. Now, you never know in this situation whether the car leading has got a minor problem or whether the driver is just being extremely intelligent and pacing himself to the end of the race. In this situation, with the gap now under 6 seconds, as you see from that caption, I would have thought it was the latter, that Michael Schumacher was pacing himself. But there's still some way to go. We're on lap 52. Michael Schumacher leads David Coulthard by just under 6 seconds. Barrichello is third ahead of Damon Hill. Johnny Herbert is fifth. Fisichella is sixth. We're going to a break.
Frentzen went off before AJ Classic blow-up by the look of that.
It certainly is, and providing they've got the same engines, now with the real-time telemetry that they're all operating out of the pits, those guys will know exactly what the cause of that was, and they'll be able to tell Michael to either ease off on the revs or whatever's necessary, but at this stage, Michael's certainly looking very comfortable.
Yeah, 53 laps, but Coulthard is really, really on a charge. He's now the fastest car on the circuit, closing the gap, but whether he can get past, of course, is another thing.
Well, there's only 9 laps to go, and it depends on who's looked after their tyres the best as to who's got the, more grip available. But with 9 laps to go, I mean, it's one thing to catch him, it's another thing to pass him.
Whoa!
Oh, it looks like a Minardi, I think. Oh, no, Sauber, is it? Yeah.
Denise going off, so we're losing. A lot of cars are getting very loose on the rubber at this circuit late in the race. Let's go back now to Murray Walker and Jody Scheckter.
7th position, Alex Zanardi is catching Fisichella. So it's all happening. Now, are we going to see a Ferrari victory here at Imola? I think the last one was Patrick Tambay here in 1983, a long, long time ago. On the Tifosi. Oh, now, Schumacher's got to get past Marc Genet. Oh, and he's done it. A really hard, incisive bit of passing.
Oh, he's got to be pushing it now, but, I mean, it's getting tough. If David can really go a lot faster, he's just gone faster again by not enough. He's got to do really a half a second a lap quicker to get right on the tail of Michael, and then there's the problem of passing him.
Yeah, Eddie Irvine is with Louise Goodman.
Eddie, what put you out?
Just lost power, and then something seemed terminal. I was down a bit on power, and then all of a sudden it just let go. So
an engine failure?
Looks like.
You lost a championship lead?
Not yet.
No, he's absolutely right, because Michael Schumacher's still Eddie, ever the truthful pragmatist. He's absolutely right, because Michael Schumacher has still got 9 laps to go, including the one, 8 laps to go, including the one that he's on. But if Schumacher wins this race, he will take the World Championship lead from Eddie Irvine, and we will certainly have a Ferrari in the lead, Ferrari driver in the lead, and a Ferrari driver in second place in the Drivers' World Championship. And Ferrari, of course, extending their lead in the Constructors' World Championship, with Schumacher ahead of Coulthard. But that's still got to happen. We're on lap 55. The crowd is agog. They're praying as hard as they can for their man to come home first in the Ferrari, as Coulthard nips in front of Marc Genet. But this should mean that Schumacher's lead has been increased, and it has, because Genet held Coulthard up more than he held Schumacher.
Right, I think if there's going to be the big finish, it's going to be between Hill and Barrichello. Hill's catching him quite consistently now. What is he, 2 seconds, 1.9 seconds behind him. So this could be interesting. Again, he's got to get past. Not going to be easy. But I think that's where the action's going to be.
Well, only one constructor has got both cars in a point-scoring position. It's Stewart with the new Ford engine. Enormous encouragement for Ford, who've decided to put all their energies in Formula One. behind the Stewart team to really concentrate on them. And those two drivers are Rubens Barrichello, who's third, being caught by Damon Hill. There is Barrichello, there is Hill, and there is Schumacher. So you're seeing the third, fourth and first men in the picture at the same time. Now this is going to give David Coulthard an opportunity to close up, because there's not all that much difference in time, lap time, between Damon Hill, who's lapping in about 1 minute 30.3, and Schumacher, who's lapping in 1 minute 30.1. And it would therefore need Damon Hill to move over and let Schumacher through.
And which I don't think will happen.
No, they're not. He's not his best friend.
No, he's not his best friend, and also he's trying to gain a place. Mind you, I think Michael's too quick. There he goes.
We're both wrong.
Yeah.
We're both wrong.
Yeah.
And Damon could have held him back there if he'd had a mind to, but he's done the sporting thing and moved over. Now perhaps Michael will give him a bit of a tow up to Rubens Barrichello in the white Stewart. We're on lap 57. Louise Goodman is with Heinz-Harald Frentzen.
Heinz-Harald, there were some suggestions that you might have gone off on Eddie Irvine's oil. Was that the case?
Well, I don't think there's other reason that I spin off in the middle of the straight. And unfortunately, there was no marshal signing me any danger of oil or anything. And disappointing.
So an accident that you feel shouldn't have happened?
Well, I mean, accident happens in Formula 1. That's possible. No, unfortunately, I was going to have good points this race as well, and only the marshal wasn't quick enough today to react. That would have saved me some points.
Bad luck, Heinz-Harald.
Come on, Heinz-Harald, tell them what you really think. Being the gentleman as ever, lovely chap, but out of the race, and that's only one. Jordan is going to finish, if provided Damon Hill does. There he is in the background. Lap 57, so 58, 59, 61 and 2 to go. Michael Schumacher is being caught again by David Coulthard, but David has got to get past Damon Hill. I'm sure Damon won't make it difficult. He'll know what the situation is. He'll recognise the McLaren. He'll know it's his friend David Coulthard. There he is. The gap is down to 4.7 seconds. It was a mighty close finish last year, but the positions were reversed. David Coulthard was leading Michael Schumacher. Schumacher was catching Coulthard, who'd got a bit of a problem. And the gap at the end of the race was just 5 seconds only between David Coulthard, who won it, and Michael Schumacher, who was in second place. Lap 58.
Jackie must be very happy if you think that his cars were leading the race in Brazil, and now they've got both cars in the points. You don't have to think back very far to think how good he must be feeling.
No, and people don't realise and don't give credit for the fact that getting a Formula One team going at all is a mighty difficult job. Getting it up to race, podium and even winning speed is a terrific job. I know Jackie sold forward on the concept of a 5-year plan. Well, he's up on the podium on the third year. Tremendous achievement. More news from Ferrari, James Allen.
Well, let's just put this strategy thing to bed once and for all. It caught us all by surprise, Michael Schumacher's second stop, but I've just had it confirmed from Ferrari. This was their original strategy. The idea was to run long on the first stop and then put in 2 lightish fuel loads to protect the brakes at the middle and the end of the race, but of course they made it look like they were on a one-stopper in the early stages. It was a flexible strategy designed to take in whatever Häkkinen and Coulthard might have done. But what was interesting about it was it demoralised both Coulthard and McLaren. When Schumacher got out in front after those first stops, the sort of shoulders dropped at McLaren. DC's shoulders too, no doubt, in the cockpit. It's been a fascinating strategic battle today.
I must agree. I was thinking exactly the same. He really what they did is demoralise David out there. Although I'm not sure he's having a little bit of handling problems, but still, I agree with you, absolutely.
He's now 4.4 seconds behind the car you're looking at, Michael Schumacher, but he's got Damon Hill in front of him and he's got Rubens Barrichello in front of him. And I just do not believe that, provided the Ferrari keeps going, and it's always a big provided in any race, but David Coulthard could get past Hill, catch Barrichello, get past him and catch Michael Schumacher, never mind get past the brilliant German. It's on lap 59 now. There's only 3 laps to go at the end of this one, each of them of 3.06 miles. So under 10 miles to go for Michael Schumacher for his first win of 1999. I must be very careful. That would be, there you see, there is Barrichello, third, Hill fourth, Coulthard in second position, race leader Michael Schumacher. But you see what I'm talking about when I talk about the sandwich. The sandwich is Barrichello and Hill, and the bread is Schumacher's Ferrari and David Coulthard's McLaren in the background. And Michael Schumacher is on his 60th lap. His people in the pit lane will be talking to him, telling him on the radio exactly what the situation is.
Yes, I think it's fairly safe as long as the cars finish without a problem. Well, it's certainly looking like Ferrari's going to win. I said it in the beginning for very much the wrong reasons. But still, Ferrari must be very happy winning in Italy if they can.
Well, they haven't, because out goes Johnny Herbert. The engine has let go. Bad luck indeed. Now let's hope that Rubens Barrichello can keep going. That means that Fisichella moves up into 5th position, and Alex Zanardi as Paul Stewart on the right, Jackie Stewart, his father, on the left. Look at the monitors. You can see what the problem is easily enough. Let's hope that he hasn't dropped any oil on the corner. Well, there's something.
I think he has, yes. Yeah. Oh, it was pouring out the side of the radiator. Some liquid there.
Well, they
look more like water than oil.
Yeah, the flag marshals need to do a pretty nifty job. But meantime, David Coulthard is now... Michael Schumacher is on his 61st lap. This one and the next one. And there's still Barrichello, Hill, Coulthard, 4.3 seconds behind. It's not a question of time so much as the distance that David has got between him and Michael Schumacher left to try to get past Damon Hill, and it looks to me as though there's absolutely no chance that he's going to do it. So we have a new 5th position driver in Giancarlo Fisichella. All the hard work that Benetton did overnight to try to make their car handle better has paid off in the end analysis, and a Sauber looks as though it's going to finish in 6th place, driven by Jean Alesi, the very popular French driver, and Alesi has yet to score points this year. In fact, he's yet to finish in a race this year, because he failed to finish in Australia, failed to finish in Brazil. Michael Schumacher dropping down to the Rivazza from a speed of 180 miles an hour. Yeah, it's Zanardi in the Williams out of the race, and I suspect he went off on oil.
Yes.
Because he was going beautifully steadily, and I think it was Johnny Herbert's liquid that was dropped that I said the marshals need to get out quickly, but whatever, Zanardi is out of the race, and that means to say that Mika Salo comes up into... Alesi comes up into 6th position. Mika Salo looks as though he's going to finish just out of the points. But with just about half a lap to go before Italy erupts, Michael Schumacher looks as though he's coming home for his 34th Grand Prix victory, his first of the year, to rivet Ferrari's lead in the Constructors' Championship, to move up into 2nd equal position with Mika Häkkinen and Heinz-Harald Frentzen. So there will be 3 people in 2nd position in the Drivers' Championship, and only 2 points covering the top 4. What an absolutely fabulous thought as we go to Monaco for the Around the Houses race in the Principality in a fortnight's time on May the 16th. Look at the Ferrari banners going. And Mika Salo is out of the race. I can tell you he's being pushed down the pit lane as Michael Schumacher comes down to the Traguardo for the last time. Round turn 16, turn 17, to win the San Marino Grand Prix. Fist aloft, a gesture of victory A wonderful win for Michael Schumacher and Ferrari, and the Ferrari team are justifiably, absolutely euphoric. Well, it was not to be McLaren's race after all. Mika Häkkinen out very early. A brilliant strategy. I think that's what sewed it up for Schumacher with his skill and experience.
I mean, you look at it now to the first sort of quarter of the race when Mika was just dominating it, and you see what happens. The Ferraris must be very, very happy, and you must say that Michael looks tough. He looks really tough to do the championship, although the McLarens were very, very fast at the beginning.
Well, there's no doubt about it. It's the conventional wisdom that he's the finest driver of his day. He's proved it today, not only by winning the race the way he has, but his dominance once he had taken the lead. And he leads the Drivers' Championship now by 4 points. As I expected, Ferrari drivers are first and second, with Eddie Irvine 4 points behind his team leader, second in the championship, ahead of Heinz-Harald Frentzen and Mika Häkkinen, tying for third place on 10 points. Ralf Schumacher is in fifth place, 1 point ahead of David Coulthard, who finishes second, but a rather bitter defeat, I think, for David. He drove his heart out, as he always does, but the superior tactics and, frankly, the superior speed and reliability, there's the story of the race. Mika Häkkinen's shattered McLaren lying by the side of the road after he had pushed so hard to get a 20-second lead, only to go off. And I'm expecting a crowd invasion here, although it's going to be very difficult for them on account of the fact that there's netting all the way round. But
not in Italy. It's not difficult for them to get through a bit of barbed wire.
Well, here we are. There's the Ferrari, and Michael Schumacher wins the San Marino Grand Prix for the second time. First in 1994 for Benetton, second last year, second the year before, first in 1999, brilliantly to take those 10 vital World Championship points.
Welcome back. As you can see, Michael Schumacher absolutely elated this crowd. First time they've won here since 1983. Patrick Tambay was the driver in those days, and that car was designed by Harvey Postlethwaite. Of course, we acknowledged his loss at the start of the show. Right, let's wait for the national anthem. Crowd go up. Gee whiz. David Coulthard, you can see it in his face. Now we go the anthem, of course, for the constructors. mention, of course, 1983, the last time they won here. It was also the last time, AJ, they won the Constructors' Championship. Maybe there's an omen there.
Too right, too right. Lovely trophy, look.
Magnificent trophy, look at that.
And it's good to see 3 different manufacturers up there, you know, Ferrari, Mercedes and Ford. And what a great effort by Jackie Stewart's team to get Barrichello up there on the rostrum. It's excellent.
David Coulthard, of course, the positions reversed 1 and 2 last year. And you could just see the look of sheer disappointment on his face, wasn't it?
Yeah, but, I mean, they talk about strategy. Ferrari probably have the best strategy going in Formula One at the moment. But they can actually, they've got such a wide band of strategies they can use simply because of the instrument they have called Michael Schumacher. They can probably do things that other teams can't do, relying on his enormous talent.
Well, I mean, this race started out, it was going to be it's a 2-car race. But like a lot of Formula One races these days, they swing around. And Jackie Stewart, with a huge moment for that team, up on the podium there. They've been there before, of course, but that's going to help their cause.
Oh, too right. Well, I mean, Barrichello got second at Monaco last year, which was their best ever result. Third this year, third race into the season. Must be very encouraging for them.
Look at him, he's doing handstands. I think Barrichello's gone berserk. He had the Brazilian flag there in his hand. And one thing about the Brazilians, they're never shy on promoting their country, which is fantastic. I really enjoy that sort of stuff.
Gee, I can't get over how no one didn't hit Villeneuve. Look at that. I mean, he was just missed about 6 times.
Yeah, going back for a replay of the start there. And, of course, McLaren just romped away. And then they have those disappointments. All right, let's have a look at the results for you, AJ.
Well, Schumacher from David Coulthard, Barrichello 3rd, Damon Hill 4th, Fisichella 5th, and John Alacian 6th. The championship now is Schumacher takes the lead from his teammate Irvine, Hakkinen is equal 3rd or 4th with Frentzen, Rolf Schumacher 5th and David Coulthard in 6th. The Constructors' Championship, Ferrari go to the front with 28 over McLaren 16, Jordan 3rd with 13, Williams, Stewart and Benetton.
And here's a shot of Schumacher a little earlier on before that presentation coming back into Parc Fermé. Now, you know, the elation this guy would have, because, I mean, really, 10 laps into this race, he would have thought, what have I got to do here to catch these McLarens? And, of course, it just unfolded for him. And, as AJ said, brilliant, brilliant work in the pits. But they were by far the best pit crew last year, too.
Well, they were, but the guy is the ultimate racing car driver. He never gives up. He drives 105% all the time. And if you were Mika Hakkinen or David Coulthard or anybody, you have never won the race while this guy's still on the track.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. I mean, he does not give up, and I mean, he has got a brilliant set of minds that are organising. There's one of them now, organising behind the scenes. I mean, they just know when to bring them in. Irvine, of course, went out with that blown engine. They'd have been a bit worried there. They'd have been telling him to back off slightly, but their tactics have just been superb.
Of course, the guy that's in charge of that is Ross Brawn. He's an ex-Williams employer. And, well, I mean, they are a very cosmopolitan team.
Yeah, might go forever. Well, I'm not sure that Mika will agree with that. Now, they're getting weighed. They must be weighed, of course, and the cars have weighed as well. And if they're any different. All right, let's go and have a listen to what they've got to say after the race.
To be honest, the way we did it, we had the option to go either way, and if we would have gone to a clear one-stop strategy, it would have meant we would have stuck behind. As he was staying out there was no chance to overtake, so there was no big risk to go for a two-stopper and at least try and see what happens, and we did it. I mean, Ross is obviously fantastic in that, but I'd say this weekend, if at all, it was a team victory. I mean, we worked very hard all the last couple of weeks to come back here at Imola Grand Prix. We knew we were lacking performance the first 2 races, but we knew as well the championship can't go that way if we want to win it, and so we had to turn it around. And this weekend, I guess, to some extent, we turned it around. We were close in qualifying, we were fast in race condition, and obviously thanks to the team, because they've done a great job, strategy-wise, car performance-wise, everything. And I hope it makes up for the 2 bad races we had in the beginning of the season. I hope people will forgive me for that.
Now, the middle section of the race, you went very, very hard, but you had a lot of traffic problems, especially with Saubers. How did you see that?
I mean, that's just the way it is here. It's difficult to overtake, to be honest. And the other guys raced their race, and I was thinking I wouldn't do it because I was so much in traffic that I couldn't really use all my performance. I knew I was on light fuel and new tyres, and I had to go for it. So it was a pretty difficult situation, but obviously difficult as well for David. And even though I was stuck in traffic, I seemed still to make up the gap which I needed for the pit stop for the extra one.
Thank you, Michael. David, are you happy to have opened your account for 1999 or just disappointed to be second?
No, obviously I'm happy to come away with some points from this race. Clearly, though, I had the performance to win today, and just disappointed. As Michael's already said, then it's always difficult to overtake the back markers here. But I think it was particularly they were particularly uncooperative when I was behind them. I lost a lot of time in the traffic, and that was the difference between coming out behind Michael or in front of him.
As that may well have cost you the win, is there anything that can be done to alleviate that from happening in the future?
I think, it takes understanding from all the drivers. They are running their races and they don't want to give up position. But, if you're a lap down and you're being lapped, then I think you have to accept, maybe a loss of half a second or so to let the leader through. That's, they may be leading a Grand Prix one day and the shoe's on the other foot.
Thanks, David. Rubens, Imola must be a circuit that holds a lot of emotion for you. But it must be nice, therefore, to have your first podium since Monaco 2 years ago here for the Stewart Ford team.
First, I want to dedicate this to my friend Ayrton Senna. I think after all I've been through, this is the place that I wish I could really finish on the podium. So I want to give this to him, whatever he is. I think this has been a great effort from the team. We have a competitive car. Obviously, it's not a quicker car than the Ferrari and then the McLaren, so we can be best of the rest and finish on the podium here in a place where I've been hurt and my feelings being really hurt. I think it's very emotional for me, and it's a pleasure really to be here.
How much fun is it for you to finally be in a competitive car?
Well, it's the first time I am in a competitive car. As I said, I don't think we are in a degree to race the big guys still, but we're making progress, and it's just whenever you start at the top six, you just having a good fight, and you can look after the tires, you can race yourself. I think I've been lucky today, because otherwise, if the Ferrari and the other McLaren were on the track, I wouldn't finish third. But you have to have some lucky whenever you're racing.
Thank you, Rubens. Michael?
Nice man, nice words. We'll take a break, come back with David Bernard. Stay with us. Yeah, nice to take you behind the racing scenes now as we take you behind pit wall into In the Pits, and terrific to have Pennzoil aboard, brand new sponsor to our Grand Prix coverage this year.
Good to have them.
Yeah, good company too, and of course very well known right throughout America, and I think will become very well known here in Australia too. A guy that is well known to us here and has been for some time is David Bernard. Now, he's been racing in the Atlantic Series in the US. He finished 6th in his first race, qualified 5th for the second round at Nazareth. That's in Pennsylvania. I caught up with David at Melbourne at the Australian Motorsport Awards, where he was crowned Young Motorsport Achiever of the Year.
And the winner is a young kid I'd love to see back here racing a bit more. I think he's fantastic. David Bernard.
First of all, congratulations on the series. It wasn't just a win. I mean, you whopped them.
Yeah, thanks, Daryl. No, we had a great year. We struggled a little bit at the start of the year with money and things like that. We got the team together, had a great engineer, and we could rock up at the track and sort of get the car great. And we went racing, had a really good year.
Tell us about the cars. I mean, they're not a car we're that familiar with over here.
No, the closest thing we've got here is Formula Ford. They're a little bit more horsepower. They've got a sort of decent aerodynamic package on them. They get up to about 155 mile an hour, but they're probably most comparable to a Formula Ford out here.
Were you surprised with the way you adapted to the American scene? I mean, ovals, that sort of stuff?
Before I drove on an oval, didn't know what to sort of look forward to. once I'd gotten in the car and sort of started driving around, it was just like anything else, just another race car, and you drive the thing to the limit. And if you lock a brake up here or get a bit of wheel spin there, you know you were trying too hard, so you just drive the thing to the limit like anything else. I was surprised with the results at first. I thought, you know, wasn't asking too much, I guess. I wanted to go and see how it'd go, and as it turned out, we won the first 3 races, and the confidence was there after that, and everyone knew we could win, so we just went out and kept doing what we knew best.
The American adventure, that was a planned move. I mean, obviously you're trying to get to Europe to Formula One, or is it kart racing that you'd rather go to?
I'd be happy with either, to be honest. It was a planned move, but it was also a guesstimate. We went over there thinking that we'd probably have more chance of getting what I deserved, and that's all I want, what I deserve, no more or no less. So I headed off over there thinking that, you know, it was better for us financially to get a start and then hope to have a good year so I could move on, and that's kind of where we're at now.
So I guess you keep one eye cocked on Europe all the time.
Yeah, for sure, and not only Europe, the rest of the world too. I had an offer to drive a Formula 3 car in Japan late last year, so I went and did that. I took the opportunity up and had a really good test there, just to, you know, you always got to maximise your options and look at everything.
Well, Japan has been a stepping stone for so many people, particularly out of Formula 3000.
Yeah, it has. In recent years it has, and unfortunately, I guess with the economy over there, things aren't quite as strong now. It sort of looks like that America's becoming the Japan, or the way Japan was.
So really your philosophy now is, you know, you'll race anywhere. If the car's competitive and the money's right, you're there?
Yeah, we move up the ladder a little bit now to Formula Atlantic, which is where Jacques Villeneuve came from. A lot of the IndyCar drivers have come from Atlantic. It's with a really good team. They're a new team. The team isn't proven, but the personnel this year in the team are proven. I'll be taking my engineer from last year, which is obviously a proven relationship there, and he's also done some work with Atlantic cars successfully. Be taking him along, and I also worked with some of the other people on the team, and they're all great guys, and we all look forward to working with each other.
We desperately need somebody back in Formula One and Indy-style car racing. I mean, we need somebody in open wheelers. Now, obviously, there's a bit of a race going on from a number of Australians. You've been named one of them. Mark Webber's another. Do you think you can do it through America?
I think so, yeah. You obviously need to have... I need to go out and have a good year like I had in Formula 2000 in '98. If I can do the same in '99 in Atlantic, looking at what's happened in the last few years with people doing well in Atlantic, it's very possible to get to IndyCar. Now we've seen in the last couple of years what happens if you go well in IndyCar. You've got Jacques Villeneuve in Formula One, you've got Zanardi now. I mean, it's going to be very interesting to see.
He's a very impressive young man. I really like the style of this young bloke. It was a gamble for what he's done. Obviously, at the top of that interview, I was talking about Formula 2000, which he dominated last year, now moving into the Atlantic Series. But by gee, if he's any guide to the sort of personality and talent we've got around, we're pretty healthy.
Well, Daz, we've got a heap of talent in this country. We really have. We've got as good a drivers as anybody in the world, but we just need corporate Australia and some people to get behind them and give them the chance to get over there and prove the talent that they've got.
You're young bloke. I mean, I meant to ask you at the top because I've noticed he hasn't been in the ranks of Formula Ford. What's happening there?
No, well, he's just one of the list of people that are really looking for sponsorship to go over there and do something, and it's difficult.
Well, we've been saying it for a long time that corporate Australia, I mean, we have got some magnificent talent. We have been saying it for a long time, not just in four-wheel racing, but also two-wheel racing. There's some wonderful, wonderful talent here that just needs that chance. And you had to do it the hard way. It'd be a lot easier if a young bloke like that could get the right backing from Australia and get on with it.
Well, it's the battle, isn't it? It's not half the battle, it's the battle.
Exactly. All righty, well, we hope you've enjoyed tonight's event. Wow, what a race. I mean, it was incredible. The first half, it got a little bit slow, but boy, did it liven up after those pit stops. And, of course, Mika Häkkinen going off in such a sensational way, and he later on came back and said it was just one of those driver's mistakes, and that's a rare thing for a driver to admit. Next time we go to Monaco, one of the real glamour events, that's on the 16th of May, 10:35, but check your local guides right around Australia. AJ, have a safe trip back to Queensland.
Thanks, Daz.
And we'll see you next time round. And we'll see you next time round also, right here on Nine's Wide World of Sports.
You're the devil in me, I brought it from the cold. presentation of Nine's Wide World of Sports.